The battle line between good and evil runs through the heart of every man. In our country, the light has become not just a moral category but a pillar of the state. Everything you add to the truth subtracts from the truth. You only have power over people so long as you don't take everything away from them. But when you've robbed the man of everything, he's no longer in your power, he's free again. Own only what you can always carry with you. No languages, no countries, no people. Let your memory be your travel bag. It is not because the truth is too difficult to see that we make mistakes. We make mistakes because the easiest and most comfortable course for us is to seek insight where it accords with our emotions, especially selfish ones. How can you expect a man who's warm to understand one who's cold? The state of war only serves as an excuse for domestic tyranny. Violence can only be concealed by a lie, and a lie can only be maintained by violence. It is time in the West to defend not so much human rights as human obligations. For us in Russia, communism is a dead dog, while, for many people in the West, it is still a living lion. Justice is conscience, not a personal conscience but the conscience of the whole of humanity. Those who clearly recognize the voice of their own conscience usually recognize also the voice of justice. A man is happy so long as he chooses to be happy, and nothing can stop him. Anyone who has proclaimed violence his method inexorably must choose lying as his principle. Not everything has a name. Some things lead us into a realm beyond words. The next war may well bury Western civilization forever. Any man who has once proclaimed violence as his method is inevitably forced to take the light as his principle. The salvation of mankind lies only in making everything the concern of all. Our government declared that it is conducting some kind of great reforms. In reality, no real reforms were begun, and no one at any point has declared a coherent program. Woe to that nation whose literature is cut short by the intrusion of force. This is not merely interference with freedom of the press but the sealing up of a nation's heart, the excision of its memory. Hastiness and superficiality are the psychic diseases of the 20th century. And more than anywhere else this disease is reflected in the press. There are a lot of clear thinkers everywhere. It is the artist who realizes that there is a supreme force above him and works gladly away as a small apprentice under God's heaven. Blow the dust off the clock. Your watches are behind the times. Throw open the heavy curtains which are so dear to you. You do not even suspect that the day has already dawned outside. I can say without affectation that I belong to the Russian convict world no less than I do to Russian literature. I got my education there, and it will last forever. Talent is always conscious of its own abundance, and does not object to sharing. Literature transmits incontrovertible condensed experience from generation to generation. In this way, literature becomes the living memory of a nation. The name of reform simply covers what is latently a process of the theft of the national heritage. Human beings yield in many situations, even important and spiritual and central ones, as long as it prolongs one's well-being. If one is forever cautious, can't one remain the human being? I have spent all my life under a communist regime, and I will tell you that a society without any objective legal scale is a terrible one indeed. But a society with no other scale but the legal one is not quite worthy of man either. When truth is discovered by someone else, it loses something of its attractiveness. Literature becomes the living memory of a nation. Of course, God is endlessly multidimensional, so every religion that exists on earth represents some face, some side of God.